America, they say, is a country in decline. It is in decline, and I think New York State might be leading the way down. It's in big, big trouble. Crime is out of control. It is politically a very lucrative state, potentially for either party. Historically, it goes Democrats' way. Let's see, right? Reagan won it all the way back in 1984. Before that, I think the last time a president won New York City was in 1924. Could this be turned around? Did you see President Trump yesterday in Upper Manhattan working the crowd? That's Washington Heights. A lot of Dominicans, a lot of Latinos, black, and you know what? They loved him up there. Is it possible that New York could swing red? I have a feeling, and maybe President Trump does as well. Gavin joins us. He is the president of the New York Young Republican Club, and he's very tight with President Trump. A few months back, here they are dining together at that great big New York City Republican gala. Gavin, welcome. By the way, that looked like that was pretty cool. What's it like having dinner with the president?
Oh, it was an experience of a lifetime, Greg. Really enjoyed it. He got his steak well done. We had some ketchup on the table for him. But in all seriousness, it was a great evening. It was a great event, one for the history books. Gave him a hometown welcome that he was much deserved. And, we brought the house down at Cipriani Wall Street in Lower Manhattan. So one event after the next, we're really making headlines. We're really making history as an institution.
That's awesome. So look, from time to time, I know Republicans make noise about we're going to make a play for California, we're going to make a play for New Jersey, we're going to make a play for New York. This time, it actually feels real, that there's something in the air. Are you guys faking us, or is this real?
Listen, I think there's a lot of trends working our way here in New York. I mean, we just saw Lee Zeldin's gubernatorial race where he got 47%, sort of unheard of for a Republican. And we're seeing a lot of groundswell of support in places that Republicans generally don't do very well. You talked about Washington Heights, a very Dominican American neighborhood in Upper Manhattan. This is not traditional Republican ground, but Republicans like Donald Trump are really making a play there. They're making a splash. People are tired of the same old one-party Democrat nonsense coming out of this city and coming out of this state. They're looking for real change. They're looking for real leadership. President Trump's the guy to deliver it. And listen, I think where there's a lot of potential, potential party growing that could happen here in the Empire State and in New York City in particular. So, crazier things have happened, but let's aim big and let's see where we settle.
And by the way, I hear that there could be big rallies coming, Trump rallies in the Bronx, maybe Yankee Stadium, maybe nearby. Are you guys coordinating? Is that going to happen?
We're going to help the Trump campaign in any way we can with future stops, with future events, with future rallies. We're looking to, make the most of his time here in New York, here in his hometown, here in his home state. So everything's on the table. There's a lot that could be done. There's a lot to be said. There's certainly plenty of problems to address in this city. We have no shortage of problems, from crime to the migrant crisis to corruption, you name it. So a lot of things to do in New York. So we're going to keep him busy if we can.
Can we take another look at that first map of New York State? Can you just explain to the people, New York, across the country, a lot of people think New York City, and that's it. But if you go a little bit north of New York City, that is literally red. I mean, it's red in a lot of different ways, but it's Trump country up there, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, Greg, this is a very diverse state. It's a big state. Even in New York City, let's not write off, the Republican bastion of Staten Island. Let's not write off Republican enclaves in South Brooklyn, South Queens, Northeast Queens. We have a Republican elected official in every borough except Manhattan right now. So there's plenty of Republicans in this city, in this state, and they're looking for leadership. They're looking for a change. And President Trump is the exact kind of Republican candidate that can speak to the people. He has a certain charm, he has a certain charisma, he has a certain presence. We saw it yesterday up in the Heights where, people are just drawn to him, they relate to him, they understand him, and he just has a presence like no other, certainly no other Republicans that I can think of who are too manufactured, who are too, consultant driven. He's his own person, he's authentic. It's that kind of New York energy that he brings to the table, and people love him for it.
And it wasn't just the neighborhood, it was the bodega and what happened there and Jose Alba and that whole thing. It was just a brilliant move. Hey, tell us a little bit about your book, The Emerging Populist Majority. Came out not too long ago, Bombardier Books. What's it all about?
Absolutely. It's about a lot of what we're talking about today, a lot of these trend lines. It's a nerdy political science book, but it talks about the rise of President Trump and this populist movement that he's a part of, this Make America Great Again movement, this America First movement, however you want to describe it. And it's sweeping, the political landscape in this country. That's why we're here talking about, trends in Washington Heights for Republicans. That's why we're talking about a Republican potentially winning a state like New York, or President Trump potentially having a popular vote victory in the general election coming up in November. It's because he's reshaping the map. He's realigning the entire country, and the party is beginning to look a lot more like working class Americans, whether they're in Washington Heights or whether they're in the Rust Belt. The Make America Great Again agenda applies to all Americans, whether they're in, Upper Manhattan or in the Southwest or in Appalachia or wherever. So this is part of that movement. It's why Republicans are starting to win again if they follow the right messaging. And hopefully we'll see the thesis of this book play out in November and then for election cycles to come.
All right. Well, hey, New York Young Republican Club, Young Republican. How young were you when you decided, you know what, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, this is who I am? When did you figure that out?
Listen, I like many other Americans, we've gone through, political change over our life. I definitely had stupid ideas back in the day. I definitely leaned more Democrat when I was in high school, et cetera. So, you grow up, you work, you live in the real world, and you change. So I think I've definitely been a hardcore Republican for some time now, certainly from college on. But listen, we're always changing, we're always growing, and that's how we have to do as a party.
Gavin Wax, thank you. Go to gavinwax.com. Appreciate it. Say hi to President Trump. And we'll see you soon. Many thanks.
Thank you, Greg.